you lead us in our invocation and pledge to the flag here in just a moment. Again, we're going to transition directly into our regular council meeting of June 23rd, 2016. If everyone will please stand. Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Lord, we thank you for another wonderful day today. Father, thank you for each one's come out to the meeting. Help each one of us to make the right choice, the right decision you have us to make. Thank you, Lord, for loving us and caring for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our pledge flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Janet, we can have the roll call, please.
Mayor Lambert.
Here.
Vice Mayor Garrett.
Here.
Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Manning.
Here.
Councilmember Stoll.
Here.
City Manager Moore.
Here.
City Attorney.
Again, thank you all for being here tonight. This is our new city manager's second opportunity to meet with us, and unfortunately I missed the first one. We were in the court proceeding. It turned out quite well for the city of East Ridge, by the way. Thank you, Mr. Norton, and Keith Grant as well. So I just want to welcome you officially.
Thank you.
I'm a little late, but it is good to have you here, and we certainly appreciate the spirit that you've brought, the work ethic. We look forward to working with you in the days ahead.
Thank you. Myself also.
All right, and we have on the consent agenda approval of minutes from the June 9th agenda work session, as well as the June 9th regular council meeting, and approval of the May 2016 financial statement.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve and a second. I'll say ahead of time, I wasn't here for the June 9th meeting, so I will be abstaining. If we could have the roll call, please, on the consent agenda.
Vice Mayor Garrett.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Abstain.
Mayor Lambert.
Abstain. At this time, we will entertain communication from citizens. If you are a resident of the city of East Ridge or a business owner here in the city, and you have a comment, question, or concern you'd like to bring to the council, this would be your opportunity to do so. If you will approach one of the two microphones here at the front, state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Francis Pope, 1913 Close Road. This is my first meeting with Mr. Miller too. Welcome you, sir. We look forward to a long relationship with you.
Thank you.
And Hal, congratulations on the win on that lawsuit. I understand that was a critical thing, and we do appreciate you. My question, the resolution, Mayor Lambert, it looks like you put it on here. 2576 with the Border Region Act
Yes.
adjustment.
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't change anything that's already been in place, does it?
It does not. It does not allocate any additional monies. The only thing it does, it's been asked by the lender for the Exit 1 Development Group that the language be added, and their heirs and/or their estate.
So this basically is nothing pertaining to the city. It's a courtesy to the developers to make their life a little easier right now.
It is. It is.
Now, with that said, I am assuming that I'm not the only one that has seen a problem with the new picnic pavilion. That number one, it is not ADA compliant. I don't know that short, old, and arthritic is a handicap, but the ladies' restroom down there, 15 inches to step up on it, to my knee. And is there plans to fix this?
It's not right in hand, but there is.
I met with Mr. Matt Woods this week. He's getting with Ethan. That is not completed as of yet. That is not a completed project. We were talking about, they were talking about landscaping originally down in the field because of the fact that the grass has been planted there and it is not growing. There's no sense to landscape out in the field where they're going to actually put disc golf as well. We're talking to them about doing the landscaping around there. We've looked at we've looked at quite a few different solutions. We believe the best solution is to come in and put a curbing out away from the building there and then build it up with dirt, fill dirt, and then plant flowers, trees, whatever. Then on one side, it'll actually have steps coming up to it. On the other side will be ADA, where you can just walk up the ramp as far as that's concerned. But yes, Ms. Pope, it is definitely too high for me. Mr. Cagle and I have talked about it, and you probably would have a problem as well. But it is not completed. The only reason we have used it is we thought it was going to be completed, and we had scheduled, and we've tried to move forward and been as cautious as we could. But there is plans to fix that. Yes, ma'am.
And is that the reason the bathrooms are locked? Because they are not.
They're not completed as well because of the fact that they have showers in them. Right now, if you went in there and took a shower, there's nothing as far as a roughed up place, so to speak, where you could stand, you would fall if you were putting much soap down in there. So there's some things like that, yes ma'am. The other reason that we're keeping them locked is because we have had some vandalism in the park on our restrooms, and this is something we're trying to prevent and control as much as possible. There'll be new lighting coming in an area and all that stuff. When all that happens and everything's completed, then we'll be able to do that.
They will eventually be unlocked.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Because
Yes,
you go
ma'am.
into the
Yes,
public
ma'am.
if they're going to be locked up. I was out there at 9 o'clock in the morning, they were locked. At 7 o'clock at night, they were locked. And at noon, they were locked.
Yeah, we're keeping them locked all day, yes ma'am.
And is there a plan to do a barrier between the pavilion and the dump station for RVs? If I'm having a party for a small child and an RV wants to dump, it is right over to
That will
the
not
RV.
happen.
What will not happen?
They won't dump while you're having a party.
That's
No, that's just not gonna happen.
Okay. The dump station needs to not be
No,
visible.
but we do run the park, I promise you it won't happen.
My opinion, the dump station does not need to be visible from the picnic area. You can put a wall or something up. I don't think that's.
Create
that's
landscaping, yes.
Yes, something.
And remember, we're working with somebody else building this. This is not something the city built. Somebody else built this.
We had no say-so over it.
Well, you need to talk to somebody else about that.
Well, I don't know who we need to talk to. We gave them dirt
Right, and
in exchange for this. It should be done by our standards in our park for our citizens.
sure.
You
And
know,
we have,
if you'd like for me to speak to Mr. Wood and Mr.
Well,
Hickey
that-
on y'all's
that's
behalf, I'll
above
be
me.
glad to.
we have, I mean, certainly we have approved as this project has gone along, we've approved the type of materials used and all of that sort of thing, but we're not, we haven't contracted for the work to be done. Obviously, they're building it, they're footing the bill for it in exchange for the dirt.
For the dirt. But
But we certainly have input and influence over what is being done there. And so we will certainly exert that influence to make that project come to a speedy and satisfactory completion.
well, I think some influence is right here when we're doing them a favor by tweaking the verbiage to help them out. Then come on, guys, help us out and do it for the best of the citizens.
Absolutely.
Other question that I have with elections coming up, and you all know how I feel about the political sign ordinance. My question is, we have employees that cut portions of the right of way. We pay more than we get from TDOT to cut exit 1. Do our employees have to remove those political signs, mow, and then replace them? What is our policy? And the reason I'm asking what is our policy, we've got a gentleman now that's supposed to go by policies that you gentlemen said, let's make his job easier.
And in that same vein, I will say this as well. There was some debate the last time about when signs could be
Yes, sir.
placed. And I would like for council to settle that prior to any conceivable time frame in which signs can be placed. I want to make sure it's done ahead of time so that we don't place the city manager or other city staff in a difficult position in terms of monitoring that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And when you're doing that, if I could ask you to please look at the time frame when the circus tents can go up at City Hall. As you recall, Mayor Lambert, 2 years ago, there was almost a civil disturbance. That's ridiculous. We're adults. We're a good city. We're better than that. So gentlemen,
I like
let's
the
do
way you
it.
put that, by the way. I like the way you put that.
So
It's kind of
if,
like buying concert tickets, you have to go out there and stay all night, get your spot.
and that, as I recall, our city manager at the time was afraid to make a decision on it. We have a qualified city manager sitting up there. I don't know if anybody else notices, but he resembles a little bit David Mays. David Mays was, you've probably heard about him. He was everybody's favorite city manager. I respected him. I didn't come to council meetings. I'd call David. One time I called him, I said, David, do we need this tax increase? Yes, ma'am, we do. I said, that's all I need. I want to have that same respect for you someday, sir. And I want
Thank you.
these gentlemen to make your job easy to do and not get into those conflicts. And I think I'm going to leave you gentlemen to do your job, and I'm going to Camp Jordan and well aligned with my daughter and husband.
Hey, all right.
Thank you.
Ms. Cole, before you get, I'm over here.
Yes, sir.
I did, every time I put my tent up, I did go and get a permit every time. And-
Oh, you don't have to have a
Oh,
permit.
well, I did, I want to do it that way legally. I done it that way legally. When nobody said, well, you was out on, I'm not saying anything against you, so don't take it wrong. But every time I did run for office, I'd go get me a permit and make sure it
The
done right.
problem was, in the past, since we have 2 precincts in City Hall, tents would not go up until the close of business the day
The
before
day
the
before.
election. Because you're doing business in City Hall. Our employees and people coming in to do business don't need that distraction.
We need to make it as crystal clear as we can, again, well ahead of time.
Yes, because last year it started on the weekend, didn't it? Before
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes. So,
Unnecessary.
We're allowed to put them up on, I think it was Sunday night.
I may have been, I didn't.
But I just tell we,
again, it was a moving target. We need to make it a
you was out there, I mean, I know that you was out there with us.
No, sir, I was not. I was
Thank you.
on minding my own business, doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, do we have anyone else? Mr. Baker, how are you?
Very good.
Well, good.
I'm Curtis Baker, 6820 Beulah Drive, East Ridge. Mr. Mayor and Councilman, I guess every time I hear extended stay, it kind of touches a spot for me. And I know these fellows came in tonight, they were talking about extended stay. And I know I heard one guy there, he said that, the gentleman said that, you know, it brought in great families and all that kind of stuff that they saw there at Fairfield Inn. Evidently, he had been sitting down at the Cracker Barrel or Portfolio's and watching the people, that caliber of people, I'm saying that was out of the extended stay we had at the old Superior Creek. Granted, I'm sure there were some great people down there that really needed some homes there. But I guess if we look, and I haven't asked Chief of Police, but I know they've got figures where they have had numerous police calls down there. I mean, that was a hangout for drug addicts, for prostitutes. I'm hoping when we make a decision, that we take all that into account. I mean, I know there's probably some extended stays in the higher caliber, but we don't want that particular type of extended stay in our city. I mean, we're looking at development for progress. That doesn't make progress. I've talked to the people at Cracker Barrel, Fort Phoenix, a lot of those businesses. They have really been excited since this hadn't been there. Because when it was there, their customers are always being asked for, you know, give me money. The cars are being broken into. I just ask that when we make those decisions, we take some of those things into account. And it looks to me like, and it's my opinion, when you go down there and look at it again, it's gonna be the same thing we had before. Because it's not gonna be an upgrade, it doesn't look to me like, other than just a few patches and some facelifts on them. So please, if you make these decisions, take into account that we don't want that type of clientele in our city. That only makes it, that end of East Ridge, well, we all know is really beginning to prosper. We want some good hotels. We've got some good Fairfield Inn, Holiday Inn Express, we've got some great hotels, but we want to see some high caliber, high quality businesses, not the types that brings in. Thank you.
Thank you. And I said in our meeting that we had the other day with a couple of the representatives from the Fairfield Inn that, yeah, unfortunately, in East Ridge, extended stay has a completely different definition than it does virtually anywhere else because of what we've experienced over the last few years. And you know, some extended stays are very nice, and they are what they're supposed to be. And then others you have kind of pushing the boundaries. And what we don't want, and I think this is the fairest way to say it, we don't want a hotel or motel to be used as an ad hoc apartment. We don't want it to be used as a permanent solution for housing someone. It is designed to be something different, and we need to find the way to keep it within those boundaries. And so I really am positive about the process and the end result we're going to have. I think it's going to be good. But certainly, we hear your concern. We hear your concern. And we don't want to repeat history. We don't want to. Yeah. So, and from the reports I'm getting from the fire marshal, you know, the folks who are doing the work down there at what will be a budgetel, you know, they're trying hard. So, you know, hopefully, you know, they've got a few months to go. Hopefully, we'll see it become a facility that we can all be pleased with. Certainly, that's going to be for all the hotels. That's going to be the mark that we aim for. Yes, sir.
If I may, Mr. Baker, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the agenda session, but there were two gentlemen here with that Fairfield Marriott. As a matter of fact, the general manager of it, he's still sitting here in the audience, and they had issues with people coming in, eating their breakfast bars, swimming in the pool, breaking into their clients' cars. They as well don't want to see it revert back to the situation that we did have. So they're going to be participating with the city in making some slight variations to this ordinance because, you know, they've got a multi-million-dollar project that they want to protect as well as we do. We want to protect the citizens here in East Ridge as well. So I don't know if you heard that discussion when you came in, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, do we have anyone else? Okay, with that, we will move to communication from council members. And after that, we'll have a special, as they call it, presentation, but a special event, let's call it that. Mr. Manning, do you have anything for us?
Nothing except I gave you my name while ago, going out the door.
Yes, sir, I bring it down here, so when we come to that item, we'll on everything this morning. Mr. Cagle.
Just one thing, being a member of the Light East Bridge Officers Club, I just like to thank the city for the use of the arena down there for the car show. It was a pretty fair success this weekend, so just a thank you.
Fantastic. Excuse me, Mr. Graff.
It's been mentioned here a couple of times for those of you that weren't here, but our city attorney and Mr. Grant, they were, and the legal staff that in our city attorney's firm, they were successful in defending the city on the fireworks ordinance. And Chief Custer had a big input and testified, and as did Eddie Phillips, our former safety director. He came in and testified as well, and I would like to give them all a public thank you for a job well done. And the mayor testified. Yeah, sorry about that.
No.
The mayor was the
I was last in line.
he was the star witness. That's the reason why I had to sit in for him at the last meeting. So kudos to all those guys.
Well, it was a good result. I know the culmination of a great deal of hard work from everyone who had a role in that. So yeah, it was a good day for the city of East Ridge. Right, and I'm thinking of events coming up. Of course, you know, this is technically, unless we have that budget workshop or something, this is our last council meeting before the grand opening of Bass Pro Show. How real does that make it? I mean, it's that close. And we are 20 days away. The opening will be the evening of July 13th. Our next council meeting will be the next night, July 14th. So I know just from talking to the city manager that we are putting plans in place in regard to traffic and just a word of notice, warning, whatever you want to call it. I've never attended a Bass Pro opening before, but I've heard reports from what Memphis looked like and what Bristol looked like, and it was beyond what anyone there had probably ever seen. And I think in Bristol it actually shut the interstate down. So just be forewarned. There's going to be a lot of traffic, and it doesn't matter what kind of infrastructure we have in place, there are going to be some headaches.
But hopefully,
That's right. So, but we're excited. I think probably within the next week or so, we're going to hear who will be there. I think they have about 10 celebrities lined up to be there from various walks of life. So it will be very exciting.
the reason I said about the gas, my wife got a bad habit running around me. Every day.
That would not be a good day to do that.
Every day she'll be stuck in traffic.
Exactly.
And I had to call you, Mayor. I said, you live closer than I do. Can you pick her up?
All right. Mr. City Manager, do you have anything?
None at this time, no, thank you.
All right. At this time, I will recognize Chief Reed and ask him to come forward and tell us a little bit about a couple of special individuals that we welcome to East Ridge.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce two graduates that we have from the recent Walter State Regional Police Academy, Caleb Cushman and Megan Crisp. Both of these graduates, it was pretty unique the day I attended graduation. I walked in, their training officers came up to me and said, "You've got a couple of really good people." I said, "Good. Did they win any special awards or anything of that nature?" Wouldn't tell me anything. Mr. Cushman, I later found out during the ceremony, was awarded the Tactical Pursuit Driving Award for the entire academy. I was quite surprised that since I tried to find out. They're pretty tight-lipped up there. But I did get the response from the training officer up there that these were two outstanding cadets that they had to go through. I'd like to congratulate them on their completion, and welcome to the City of East Ridge and the Police Department here in East Ridge. I would also like for you to administer the oath and honor of trust.
I say it every time, I'll say it one more time. This is one of my favorite parts of the job. Officer Crisp, we will begin with you. If you will raise your right hand and repeat after me. On my honor, I, Megan Crisp, will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution and the community I serve. So help me God. All right. Very much. So congratulations and welcome. Officer Cushman, you will raise your right hand and repeat after me, sir. On my honor, I, Caleb Cushman, will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution and the community I serve. So help me God. Congratulations. Again, Officer Cushman and Officer Crisp, we welcome you, and we're glad to have you here as part of our team. Under old business, we have 3 items. First of which is item A, ordinance number 1009.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 922, which previously amended the East Ridge zoning ordinance specifically with regard to sections 115.3, minimum hotel and extended stay hotel requirements and standards. Subsections E and J, section 115.4, minimum motel requirements, subsection H, by adding additional section 115.5, here for second and final reading, tabled from May 26, 2016.
Motion to table.
Second. We have a motion and a second to table this ordinance. We have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item is tabled, and again, we will have ongoing discussions how to make the language what we want it to be altogether. Item B, ordinance number 1012.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, adopted the fiscal year 2015-2016 annual budget as a continuation budget for fiscal year 2016-2017 until such time as a finalized annual budget for fiscal year 2016-2017 is adopted. Here on second and final reading.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item C, appointment to the Housing Board. Councilmember Manning has placed Buddy Brew as a name into nomination, essentially, for the council's approval.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. As we move to new business, we do have some guests with us tonight, and I would like to go ahead and move a couple of items forward because of that. Number one would be item E, Resolution 2574. Please.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor and his designee to enter into an agreement with Bond and Melton Consulting Engineers for preliminary engineering services with regard to the X1 interchange reconfiguration. Phase 2.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Do you have any questions? This again is the firm that's been recommended to us by the city manager and city staff.
Correct.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Before I vote, I would like to disclose that the parties involved in ASA Engineering have, I do know them and work with them at the state level, and they contribute to my campaign. That being said, Bond and Melton have not contributed to my campaign. With that disclosure being made, yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. And that, by the way, is for the engineering work on phase 2 of the Exit 1 reconfiguration. So we are now off and running.
We're off and running, correct. And we have representatives from Lawn and Melton as well as the ASA here in the audience, and I'm sure that when they leave here, they'll start work at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir. I figured one.
They're on top of it, believe me.
One of them there, I figured might start, I won't call on names now, it runs well. And won't call on names, we got a white shirt on, I see him about 4 o'clock.
Thank you, gentlemen. We look forward to working with you. And the other item that I would like to move forward is item H, a discussion and/or take action on the employee health insurance. I understand there is someone here from Mr. Davis's.
I was going to introduce myself as John Davis, but didn't have to go very far. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for being here. Hope that you continue to do a good job for you. We have some handouts that are going to go around.
I'm sorry, if you could you push the button there at the bottom of the base of the microphone? If a red light comes on.
Anti-shock.
There you go.
I thought I had a loud voice before.
I can hear you, but sometimes the audio can't quite pick you up in the recorder.
I need to back way up because I would get killed if I didn't say this. My mother has been a resident of East Ridge. The last 8 years I've lived down in Florida, and each time I come back, something has changed, something has changed. And every time I say something to her, she's like, they're on it, they're on it. So anyway, she enjoys
Well, thank you.
it here. Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, so what's being passed around is basically pertaining to your health insurance. Our job, which in looking through the history of the group, is to go out to market and see what we can find that would be palatable. I don't think anyone has seen health insurance going through the Walmart phase, roll back the prices and giving you more. It's normally rolling up the prices and giving you less. So what we do each year is take it out to market to the different carriers and bring it back to you guys. So with that being said, the best options that we had on the table for you would be your Blue Cross options. If you'll turn to the first page we're going to go back to, that's a cost analysis that I've prepared. But the long sheet is your actual comparison of the plans, and there's just a few things that I want to point out before we really dive into the numbers and what our final recommendation is. First of all, you guys have the HRA in place. We wanted to illustrate for you at the top of the spreadsheet, if you went out to buy a plan without that HRA mechanism to help the employees with the high deductible. Okay, right now you have a $4,000 deductible. Their exposure, I believe, is $400, and then they kick in at co-insurance level. That's unheard of in the market. I mean, it's just not out there. So we illustrated for you to go to a $500 deductible, which was the closest plan that we could find, with the network S&P, and then we illustrated a $1,200 or a $1,500 deductible. If we make a change to the HRA at 20% employee portion, then it would be equivalent to that $1,500 plan. If you look all the way to the right in the red numbers, you'll see that those plans would actually cost you to the tune of $2.3 million. Okay, so that's why we're looking at the options that we have. We want to tweak a couple of things for you. Down below those options, you're going to see actually your exposure to the HRA and what actually was paid out per network. So Network S is the first one. If you're all following me with the blue writing in the middle. Network S, your total exposure to pay out if everyone exhausted the HRA monies would be $460,000. Okay, you guys only paid out $175,000, which is good. That's really good. And I believe on Network S, we only had one person that zeroed out their HRA account. Okay, that's going to be important when we start talking about these options coming up. If you look at the middle one, that is for Network P, which is the broader network, obviously, costs a little more money. The exposure to the city was $363,600. You guys only paid out again $173,000. So it's working. If you look all the way over to the right, the total payout for each one of those accounts, or total, I guess I should say, for both of the accounts is $348,000. Okay, you add that to your premium, and it's only 1.5 versus that 2.3. So we're still where we need to be. We're still in the same type of what we're projecting or recommending for you is going to keep you in that neighborhood and out of that 2.3 million in premium. Okay. All right. So the yellow is your actual renewal. They're your current options. The first green section is the renewal for the one plan that you have now with both networks. Okay. So you really have two plans. That equates to 35% after negotiation. It was 37%. Why? 2 years in a row, the city has actually incurred claims at $1.3 million for 2014-2015 year, and this last year the claims was actually 1.2. So you're at 100% loss ratio plus. So they're not making any money on you, and they're expecting some ongoing stuff. Okay. All right, so the other green section, just to kind of show you, this is what we're going to recommend. And we just recommend that you increase the deductible. You can see the changes in red. Possibly change your HRA structure to where they pay 20% of it, and you guys pick up the 80%. And then you can see that gets you down to an 11.39% renewal if you're basing your contributions on that plan only. And then the employees can buy up. Okay? All right, down below you just have a couple of other options that really was not part of our recommendation, but we wanted to keep them on the page. I do want to back up too and say on all of your ancillary products, dental, vision, life, all of those had a rate pass, so there's nothing really to review. Hopefully just renew move on. The life has 3-year rate guarantee, so it'll be a little while before we talk about that. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, let's flip back, if you would, to that cover sheet. It really boils down to the money. Show me the money. Well, here's the money. If you look at the top left box, that is your current rates with your current plan. And what I've done, you can see the total monthly premium per plan, 14, 22, and 33 number of employees. Those are the employees that are enrolled in Network S. Premiums are less. 21, 15, 16, that's the buy-up option. You can see the premiums are a little higher. And then you can see annually and monthly what it equates to, that 11.98. But I broke it down based on your current contribution strategy to show you paying 92% of the employee costs and then 87% of the dependent portion. That gives you a little better view of what it's going to cost the city based on your contribution strategy. And then annually what it will cost you. If you look over to the right, that's your renewal. That option is a viable option and you can have it. It's just going to come at that 35% rate increase. So you can keep what you have. We're not taking it off the table. As a matter of fact, we're recommending adding a plan and making it the base option to mitigate some of that increase. Okay, so going down to the middle in the green, recommended renewal base, we're looking at making a change in the deductible like you saw on the previous page from $4,000 to $6,000. You can keep your HRA contributions the same if you want, but I would recommend that you change that to 20% cost to the employee, which would have them exposed to $1,200. And I'm here to tell you, and being on the carrier side for the last 20 years, 14 with United, 6 with Blue Cross of Tennessee before that, $1,200 out of pocket is not bad at all. And I do understand municipalities and the concern for the employees and that, income versus cost of benefits. So I get that. But to have a $1,200 exposure is very rich. Everything will work like it did last year. All your benefits, except for your RX copays, will come out of the HRA. The RX copays are just ongoing until they reach their out-of-pocket. It will be credited to their out-of-pocket. So you can see that will actually get you down. If you base it on the current full premium, we wanted to show, I think Scott found where, hey, these numbers aren't adding up. We wanted to make sure that you saw just based on the full premium that it does come back out to that 11.38. But the number over to the right, the 10.21% increase, that is actually your cost, the city's cost. So the offset would be that of the employee's portion of their premiums. And then we illustrated, I think based on the utilization, I went through and looked at the HRA accounts. You had one person in the S plan, exhaust all the money, is gone. The rest of them, an average of 61%, had a 61% balance in their account. On the S plan, you had a little bit more. You had 6 people exhausted, and then the numbers were just a little bit off. They were maybe 47%, maybe 60% balance in the HRA. My point in that is I think you need to give them a buy-up option, okay? Because you do have some that have more medical needs, but that's not going to cost the city because you're basing all your contributions on that base plan. And if they need a little bit more coverage, a little less out of pocket, $400, no change from last year, they can do that. And you'll see that I've outlined what their employee deductions would be if they wanted to go in that buy-up plan under that blue section.
It's been my experience over the years that there are employees that want to have the best coverage and they want to pay for that. So we give them that opportunity by letting them stay on that 90-10 plan with the $4,000 deductible, but they pay that difference to go to that plan. Follow me? Okay. And then all the other employees would go from the 90-10 plan at $4,000 to an 80-20 at 4% increase in premium, 1.1 million that we paid this year, this past fiscal year, versus 35% if we were to renew our current plan today.
But we keep that plan,
We
just for
keep
those
that plan,
employees.
I understand you say that all other employees would go to 4,002, or is it 6,000?
State would go 80/20, it would go to the 6,000.
6,000?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said 4,000.
That's 4,000 is the old plan, 80/20, 6,000. So it's-
This plan will actually be offering 4 different plans because you've got the differences between network P&S. There are some people that, just have to have the network, and especially living here locally, they like the convenience of Park Ridge. But you would end up with 4 plans. The buy-up option would have a selection of networks, and then the base option. So the premiums are just a little bit different. And the way we look at it in the insurance business is you either pay a little bit more now or pay later. See it in your check. There's some people that just like that security net that Scott was talking about. I know I'm gonna have some claims, I'd rather have the lower deductible, lower exposure. I'd rather go ahead and take a little bit more out of my check. So I do think that that would be the best way to go with this increase.
What's the difference in the S and P?
S&P, you've got Park Ridge, that's the hospital difference. Other than that, Memorial and Erlanger are in both networks, it's just Park Ridge system. And there's some slight variances in the providers. So if there's, and we'll mention this at meetings, if we do meetings, if you're thinking of changing, definitely confirm that your doctor's in one or the other. You want to make sure of that. But it's a smaller network, but it's almost side by side. You'll find some docs not in it. The biggest factor would be the hospital.
If you sign up for P, you can go to Park Ridge.
Yep.
If you sign up for S, you're out of dental. You're gonna pay in
I know
money.
insurance I'm on now, it was P and they went to S. I know
Don't go to Park Ridge, you'll be out of network.
Well, there was a difference even at the doctor's office, so I wasn't even aware of it.
That is one of the bigger differences. And truly, before, it was a matter of having Erlanger and Memorial. But then they added Memorial, but the Park Ridge system fell out of Network S. And what that gets you is a little less in premiums. When you have everybody in the network, there's not much negotiation happening and streamlining and helping them get more clients, so.
I think, well, okay, the best we can help our employees, we've got a lot of them that don't make a whole lot. And what's the best for our employees, that's what I want.
Be those 2 plans that I just outlined with the 2 different network options between. Yeah. Let's see, wanted to make sure that I brought up a couple other things. Are there any other questions as far as the benefits, the rates, and how it's laid out here for you? I did put an extra box at the bottom under the green to show you what those payroll deductions would be for the employees. Trish thought that was important, that we make sure we show you that as well. So that just shows you what's going to come out of their check if they go with that plan, and then the other box, the blue, is their portion. Because it doesn't have an impact on you, you're basing your contributions on that base plan. Okay, in 2015, the HRA fees were waived. I want to make sure that we point out that Blue Cross is not going to waive those fees again. That's what's in the box to the right at the bottom of the page. It's $4 per employee per month. I've given you a total there. Right now we have 121 employees listed, so it would be a $400 line item on your bill for your HRA account. And then there was some talk about maybe looking at getting an FSA.
Not at those prices.
Not at those prices. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is it would offset your increase pretty much.
Exactly.
Your savings for the benefit
I
change.
guess you gotta get your plan fleshed by adding fee structures to the rate structure. What do you call it, administrative fees?
Yes.
That's the new thing today. Anyway, what you propose is, I like it, but I'd like it.
Well, it's very confusing for a lot of employees as well. A lot of them don't understand it. The first year or 2 in it, they're like, oh, I'm not real sure how this works. It's really simple. I mean, they just take it and they pre-tax their.
You want to explain it to them?
I can, sure. Flexible spending account, basically what that does is it allows the employees to set aside some money to help with that $1,200 deductible this year versus the $400. So you would agree to payroll deduct that, prorated for each month. And then each time they have those services that's going to come out of their pocket, they'll use the debit card that's specific to that account. Okay? Real simple, but where it gets confusing is, I forgot to give my card, what do I do, things of that nature, and what's eligible. There's certain things that are eligible to be covered and not. Anything covered under the medical plan would be eligible, but then, the government came out and said no over the counter, stuff like that. You can use them for those expenses as well, and even dental. I mean, you can set money aside to help pay for that crown or that bridge that you have coming up, which is great, and it's done on a pre-tax basis. That's the beauty of it. It reduces their taxable income, and at the same time, it also reduces what you're paying out on their behalf. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Can't use it for anything cosmetic.
You said there's a fee for that.
There is a fee. If you look in that box to the right, the bottom box, the FSA fee, it's per participant. And that's the part that's most important on that. If it were per employee per month, that would be a different story, but it's per participant. I'm having a hard time with that word tonight. And really and truly, if you calculated your membership, 121 employees with a family size of 2.2, that's what I use to factor my number. Some people have, 5 or 6 people in their family, some just have 1. But to kind of get a roundabout figure, it'll show you $1,300 a month just to have it. Those are your fees. And then it would equate to about $16,000, $16,500 a year. But we wanted to show it to you, let you know it is out there. It's just, right now, it's just not cost effective. Now, maybe after the election, they come back and they roll back all the benefits and prices, maybe we can add it back in at that time. We're hoping.
So the bottom line figures here as far as the dollars that the city would have to pay in increase. If we keep what we have now, it's $420,000 increase.
Yes,
Roughly.
$420,000 would be the cost increase on a 35%. If we have budgeted in the budget about 115%, so that it's about 179,000. So if we stay with the same plan, we're going to come up with another $240,000.
Right, by adding the second plan, the base option, it actually gets you under what you budgeted for.
Right. It does.
You were at a 15% in your budget, and these rates are coming in at 11.
12, so we're saving 3% on that new budget.
Right. But the only way to do that is to make the change.
And the employee exposure becomes $1,200.
Versus 400. I mean, that's something you can pay off relatively easy.
Mine's 4,000.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, our benefit, you have great benefits. My mother was on your plan as well, so you can't do that. So, do we have any other questions, anything? I did want to mention that, John obviously couldn't be here, and I'm pinch-hitting for him, but there were some things that we promised you. We got the group back, we're going to bring out some technology pieces that would make Tricia's life a lot easier, and all of it has been implemented. As of right now, we're waiting to find the plans, get it set up in the system, and then that final piece is done. And I think Tricia can already attest to the value that that actually brings. Ease of administration, make it easy.
And I may have misunderstood you, then again, I may not. Now, is this premium policy you're talking about now? That means that we got 3 hospitals to go to.
Under the P plan. And across the country. just here locally, what you can't go to under the S plan, which is also one of the offerings you already have today. And I would venture to say that you won't see much shifting. You might see more people jump on the base option just because of the cost, but you'll still have those. I mean, we had several claimants over 25,000, and honestly, if I was one of those, I would buy up. I would want to pay a little bit more out of my check just to give me that peace of mind and knowing that I have some expenses coming. But back to your question, both of them are going to be nationwide. If you're on vacation, you go somewhere. It's just here locally where you would need to select to go to the hospital.
That was going to be my next question you already asked. In other words, I don't have one.
Okay.
I'm 19, so they don't. But anyhow, like I said a while ago, my main concern is for our employees. Because a lot of them right now, and what everybody in the room might say, right now, times are getting hard. Everybody, that's my main
Sure
concern,
is.
to take care of our employees.
Absolutely. And you are doing that in your premiums and the way that you're paying the premiums. What we see across the industry, employers are paying 50% of employee costs. And I know you've probably heard this year over year when we talk about it and how to offset some costs. And again, it goes back to my experience in working with municipalities. You don't want more to come out of their check, obviously. But you also get to a point where you just can't help it. And again, most out-of-pocket exposure is the full $4,000, not $1,200. So, giving them the option to pick and choose will be helpful. We've got to get the claims under control. You're never going to get where you need to go if you don't start initiating some wellness programs or something, more education to the employees, get off the brands and get on the generics. It's a myth that they're not the same. So there's a lot of things that hopefully we can focus on this next year. You made a step in the right direction from 2014 to 2015, now 2016, but we're not where we need to be. Blue Cross still lost money, and when you have those kinds of claims, you're going to see this year over year. So accountability needs to get down to that employee level, and you guys have to buy in to any wellness programs to help get it started.
One thing I like about, and don't take this wrong, about Blue Cross, they lose every year, and then they start spending billions and billions of dollars add on to the money, to their hospitals and everything else, they're losing money. I like to be losing money that way, instead of keep on billing billions of dollars.
You can voice yours, I won't bite my tongue. I won't bite my tongue.
All right.
That's just the way I feel.
I don't bite my tongue very often, these two can tell you.
Do we have any more questions?
No, try this.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your job you've done.
Thank you.
Tell the staff that you'll go fishing, call me next time.
I will tell them. Thank you.
Is,
Want to know what we need to do?
is this something that we need to vote on tonight?
It would be nice if we could, since our renewal is July 1st.
Right.
We would do it.
I wish you want to think about it for a while, talk to myself and to Trish, and we'll call a special meeting. We have to meet next week, or we have to meet before July 1st.
That's the way to go on tonight. July 1st.
I make a motion to go ahead and vote on it tonight.
Okay. We don't need a motion to vote for it.
Maybe your premium will come down to 2,000
That's where I work. Mine's 4,000 per person. And there are 5 persons in my household, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve the option she said where the employee, if they want to buy the better program, if they want to buy the lesser program, it's their choice, and then be the motion I would like to throw out there to me.
That's what I thought.
So that would be reflected in the recommended. program where it's an
And 11.3.
11.39% increase.
10.21% increase. Right,
Just for,
right.
just for clarification purposes, that's the 80-20 program.
Yes, sir.
With the employee having the option of
Going to stay with the
staying
90.
with 90.
An 80-20 program, the deductible of $1,200,
Yes.
and have the employee have the option to buy and stay with the 90-10 with the $4,000.
Okay.
Both of those options would have Peak Plan and, or S Network and the P Network. S&P.
That's the motion.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we do have a second. Any other questions? We have the roll
I
call.
do have one question for our city manager. Will this be the best in route to go for our employees?
It's gonna cost them more, however, if the insurance is that way, the plan that we have now is a good plan. Not too many plans, and I'm even aware, it's 90-10 anymore. They're all going to 80-20s or 70-30s. That's, I mean, the premiums are, if you stay with this plan, what we have now, you're gonna have to come up with $420,000 more to keep this program
If we
city
move,
side.
if we move forward with what has been proposed in the motion, the city is on the hook for about 140,000
Yeah.
increase, roughly 140, 150. If we keep what we have today, it's going to be a $420,000 increase. So we're going to have to come up with a difference of $270,000 or whatever it is.
Yes.
Or 8,000.
How much are employees must come up with?
They're,
Deductible.
they will have the option of paying a little more money out of their check and keeping the 90-10 split,
4,000 deductible.
the 4,000. Or, excuse me, 6,000 deductible.
That's what I was thinking. I thought he said
Right.
6,000.
6,000. Yeah, 4,000 is what we have now, the 6,000 is what we're.
6,000, yeah.
In other words, what you're saying, if they go in hospital, they gotta come up with $6,000.
No, the most that they would have, the most that they would be in line for on an 80-20 plan with 6,000 deductible would be $1,200,
And when we're on now, what?
$400.
Are there any other questions?
I would go on my second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Griffith.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Sustain right now.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Okay. We will go back to item A under new business. Unless we have additional guests here that are here for other, other items on the agenda. Okay, we'll move to item A, resolution 2569.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, approving a bid for a 4x4 extended cab pickup truck, traffic control department, to be purchased from the state's.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
Question,
Yes, sir.
this going into 2017 budget?
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, the purchase order will be issued July 1st, so that we get it in next year's. Yes, sir.
All right, and this is the bid from Lee Smith at $36,192.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Griffith.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item B, resolution 2571.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, approving photography bids for 2016-2017 sports season.
Motion approved.
Second.
We motion and a second. Again, this is for the bid from Colorcraft. We have any questions?
One question,
Yes, sir.
do we have more action shots, or do we have more returning sales of 33%?
Sir, we don't actually have any action shots. That was left in the contract from the first year. They don't come out to take action shots.
Can you take some action shots, send them to us?
Yes, sir. Debbie will.
Okay. We do have a motion and a second. Yes, you have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item C, Resolution 2572.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, approving bids for the sale and disposal of wood chips and mulch in bulk for the term July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017.
Make a motion for it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item D, Resolution 2573.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor and/or his designee to enter into an agreement with eCivis for use of their grant database and management system.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. We've already addressed item E. Excuse me. We will move to item F, Resolution 2575.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, adopting an internal control policy for the City of East Ridge.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I know this is something that is a requirement for the city.
It is, it's a requirement for all cities, especially in Tennessee, to have a written document which notes what our internal controls are. That has to be adopted by the end of June 2016. This document has been put together by our finance office, Diane Claus. Taking into consideration, I guess, working with TML, I'm sorry.
Working with MTask and also with the comptroller's office. Because there are things that we have added in that will go into effect. More to do with more transparency, with ethics. Of course, elected officials have to do the code of ethics and conflict. Every employee needs to. I mean, there are things that the comptroller's office really wants input in. So we have worked with MTask and with the comptrollers to work to write this, and we will continually add to these as we go forward.
This is just a baseline.
This is the
really.
base, and as we add more things, we will bring them back to you. And a lot of things that are in here are things we were doing, they were just not in a resolution. We were going by the state's guidelines. Now they want everyone to have their own.
Let me suggest also as I read this, there are a lot of things that we haven't been doing. So from a litigation standpoint, we need to make sure that once this is adopted, we comply with this in the future.
Yes.
Again, these are substantial requirements that are included in the state mandated requirements, but nonetheless substantial.
I'm making a motion for it.
Second. We already had a motion. Could you tell us who made the motion, who made the second? Just to refresh our memory.
Councilmember Stoll made a motion, Vice Mayor Griffin.
Okay.
I back off mine.
Do we have any other questions? Okay.
I didn't see Mr. Gagnon was either.
Y'all Elvis has left the office.
If we could have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Rabbit?
This is the internal control policy.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Item G, Resolution 2576.
Resolution of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, modifying resolution number 2389 relating to the Border Region Tourism Development District Act, TCA Section 7-40-101 et sec.
Make a motion.
Can we discuss this?
We have a motion. If we can get a second, we can open it up for discussion. I will second it. Yes, sir.
Does the board know we're making these changes? The Board of Regents Board?
Of the
IDB.
90B. I have reached out to Ruth, the chair. We have not discussed it, but it will need to go there as well.
Can we,
Because the agreement was reached, we voted on it and then they voted on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be inconsistent with the allocation agreement, IDB, so they'll need to inform about it.
Okay. My next question is, we have already amended this once, coming from $5 million down to $4 million. I don't know what resolution number that was. So we're going back to the first resolution, 2389 in the vehicle. This appears still says $5 million, and I know we had to come from $5 million to $4 million when the fire hall was given back to us.
Well, that would be my mistake. Getting the resolution number wrong on the previous. Right, we moved it down to 4 million. So, yeah, if we could get the correct resolution number for that, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Again, that's my fault.
All right, my next one is 2389 resolution, section 2, is different from resolution 2576.
Any inconsistencies? Again, I apologize for the exit one guy simply wanted 5 words added.
Okay, but now here's something about our 5 words. Section 3 reads, majority owned property that they own. The property that they have no ownership on. They want their heirs and estates to have the right to the tax revenues on what they own and what they don't own. Okay? So if next year, year after next, they come up and want to sell this, then they have no property that they own. And then the way this is wrote, then their heirs and everybody are still going to have part of what they don't own, which is part of Ringo Road, the way I understand this. So, am I right on that, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Attorney?
I defer to Mr. Mamatoff on that. I didn't prepare this, but, again, as I understand what this is designed to do, correct me if I'm wrong, this initiated this, was that, if something happened, for example, to one of the Wood brothers in this
question is really, is on the property that they have no ownership of. I can understand the project. If they sell it, that's fine, but they don't own the Board of Regents up Ringo Road. We own.
You're referring to the first 10 million? Is that what you're, okay. So, really what we're talking about here is the lender wants to be sure that if something were to happen to one of these guys, that their loan is protected, their money is
Their
protected.
loan that you're speaking of right now is where they've already been to build Bass Pro, and they're fixing that, turning it into a permanent loan.
Yes.
I guess properly, the incentive money, their reimbursement is protected.
Right. And so, ultimately, the city is out nothing beyond what we have already obligated. There is no additional cost whatsoever to the city of East Ridge. None. The agreement is what it is. The only thing that changes here is that, God forbid, if the Exit 1 guys are out trying to find another tenant, and there's a plane crash, that the whole thing doesn't just implode, the entire deal, and the loan doesn't get paid, because obviously, if someone's going to be responsible for that money, and the bank wants to make sure that the loan they're providing.
What if they sell? How do they die? What if they sell? Then they gotta pay their own loan off when they sell it to the next buyer.
Well, that's the thing, though, the incentive agreement is with those specific individuals. So I'm not sure they can sell it. I mean, they could attempt to sell the property, but they can't sell the benefit. Because the incentive agreement is not with XYZ company, it is with, it is with the Wood Brothers, John Healy, and their estates.
If they sell it, then the incentive is still there for 30 years.
No, I don't think so at all. No, I
If they
think,
sell it tomorrow, then we don't have to give them that first $10 million, my question.
if they sell it tomorrow, it's my understanding this incentive agreement is not part of the property. It is an agreement that we worked out with those guys. So I don't think they would be able to do that. It certainly would be risky to even go down that road. Because again, the agreement that we have is not tied to the property so much as it is tied to those individual developers.
Or to a future.
Right, or to their heirs or great estates.
But it says majority owned and acquired by.
Right.
So actually talking about what they majority own
Mhm.
is the project. Bass Pro.
But the agreement is with them. Yes, it applies to property they own, have majority stake in, but if they would have sold it to Dick, if Dick came up and bought that land, the incentive wouldn't go with the land. Because the incentive agreement is with the individuals, Matt Wood, Ethan Wood, and John Healy.
And I assume at that time, then, their expenditures would be cut off, and obviously their reimbursement would be cut off.
Right.
Do we have
So that takes the first $10 million out of it.
To the extent they haven't spent that and seek reimbursement for that $10 million. If they do that, they spend the entire $10 million or so before they sell.
Then we lose.
Well, the 10 million, the part of the incentive that doesn't come off of their property, the part that comes off the entire district, is capped at a maximum of $412,500 a year. You know, that's what it is. We anticipated, you know, if they continue to own that property and they continue to, you know, to have expense, to have costs that they can turn in, the most we would pay is $412,500 times the remaining 26 years. And it's not us, again, it's not us paying. That is purely state money. That is the difference between the base year of 2012 and the current year. And
That
so
412 is coming out of our first 10 million.
it's not our money though, because if that development never happens, if the development never happened, we would never see that money, ever. And so it's not our money, it is the state's money,
Development happened. Okay. Now it becomes our,
and which we've already pledged away to the development team. So if these guys, again, good Lord willing, continue to live and, you know, the maximum they could get off of that first 10 million in incremental sales increase is $10,725,000 from this point forward. That number will not go up. It just won't. So if they continue to draw the money, that's the maximum they're gonna get off of that first 10 million, as it's stated in the.
They've got to spend money to get.
Right, if they run out of costs. Yeah, if they run out of costs, then, and it gets paid off in 5 years, then they get $412,500 times 5, which is $2 million.
And that's likewise in the city of East Ridge.
Right.
Not spending money to get.
We never see the state's money if the city of East Ridge doesn't spend the money in order to get reimbursed.
They're hoping we don't spend a dime.
The state would probably rather us not spend a dime. Again, the entire incentive, and I know it's really complex and all the rest, but the state came in and said, okay, here is your base amount of sales tax revenue that came to us in 2012. And for ease of numbers, let's say it's $100. The state has said, we will give you, if you can bump that number up to $200, we will give you 75% of that $100 increase to incentivize development. So it's their money they're pledging to us. It's not our money. And if we don't do anything to increase that number, we would never see the money anyway. There would never be a way for us to tap into that state revenue source.
We have 7 years, right?
We have 6 years from now, actually June of 2022 is the end of the investment period. So again, I understand anytime we change this agreement, it makes everybody take a second look at it.
It is the property that they have no concern, because that's the way it's listed. The whole board of regents.
Well, see-
Minus the project that they own.
See, the agreement that we have with them, they've based their financing. I don't necessarily have inside knowledge, but I imagine this is pretty much how it works. They've based their financing on the fact, they've gone to the bank and said, look, we have this agreement. It says we get the state's increase off of the property that we own, plus the first 10 million per year off of the rest of the district. And so the bank is taking into account that $412,000 when they make the loan. That's another, essentially a source of revenue for the developers to be able to pay off the loan. So they're taking that into consideration.
Then let me ask this question. If they, and I'm not saying they will, but I don't know. What if they go bankrupt on this? What happens?
Well, we have, right now, at this very moment, we have, without Bass Pro opening, we got a $770,000 check last year from the state of Tennessee. We will probably, because the Walmart's included in this year, probably gonna be over $1 million check we're gonna get from the state of Tennessee. We have already submitted our costs, and we will continue to submit our costs for the next 6 years. And even if Bass Pro wasn't there, and I know it was the triggering event, so you have to figure it in, but if nothing else happens beyond the Bass Pro, we're still gonna get repaid just based on what we're seeing today. Even if they go belly up and,
Well, see, we're talking about that Pro Shop, I was talking about the road.
yeah, even if that development team, again, goes belly up, we're gonna get repaid for everything that we have invested. And we're currently, again, not even counting the Bass Pro, we're on target to be repaid for all of our investments probably before the investment period runs out, truthfully, at $1 million a year.
Sounds good.
Nothing like additional sales tax.
Yes.
Right, and again, that doesn't even, all of this doesn't even touch the local option tax that we would get anyway. You know, and so we're gonna, I won't hazard a guess at what Bass Pro is gonna do. I've heard that, you know, they could do $30 million a year in sales. So we would get our 1.25% off of that, or, no, excuse me, 1.125% off of that. And that's not counted in the Board of Regents stuff at all. That's just money coming directly to us. And then, again, it's why, truthfully, it's why the state sunset this legislation, because they're the one assuming most of the risk. And it's their money that's being used for the incentives.
And I'm not sure if it's
We can, I don't know, Hal, if, you know, what to do about the resolution number modifying.
changing the credit, putting the original rate of solution number back.
Yeah, again, I messed up and put the wrong resolution. I put the original resolution number in it.
Let the motion specify, which, without giving the number we have, the number, just make sure that the motion itself adopts
Should the section be corrected too?
It should, because when the document changed, the section changed. So if we can word it rather generically to be
You said,
modifying the most recent or the active.
Does this have to be passed tonight? Can we get a copy throughout?
I think Diane is seeking that out, or I'm sorry, Janet is seeking that out. They just changed places, I'm sorry. Janet's trying to find it, so yes, we can definitely get a copy of it.
Mr. Mayor, for a minute?
Yes, sir.
I suggest we go ahead and take care of item I until Janet gets back.
We can do that.
And it's my understanding that we need to have an executive session, and if she's not back after we've done I, we can make a quick executive session that she may have.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Item I is,
Well,
if we can, okay. Again, I apologize, I got the numbers wrong. I contacted Mark Mammoth last week, and he was at the beach. I didn't want to disrupt his vacation, and so I said I'd get back to him this week. And Hal sent it to him, I think Monday or so, and I think that's it.
It's the one that adopts the modifications to the cable says $4 million.
Yes, this one is the correct one, it has the $4 million to it. So it's resolution 2416,
You got the other number too?
right, the section number. If we can, did we have a motion in a second? I withdraw my second. I think Larry, you had made the motion.
No, I didn't.
Or you did, okay.
I withdraw.
Okay. So the way it needs to be worded is Resolution 2576, a resolution of the City of East Ridge modifying Resolution 2416. relating to the Border Region Tourism Development District Act. Oh, actually, that's the TCA numbers and section numbers, so that actually doesn't change, yeah. So that'll be fine. So it's really just the resolution numbers what we need to change. And again, this appears to be the correct one, and we'll get copies after when we go back to the back. This does reflect $4 billion in incentives.
Section 3 reads some.
We go back and look at the current, or the resolution here.
Is that language in section?
Looks like it's actually in section 2.01. No, I'm sorry. That is actually where the about $4 billion is spelled out.
We need to go back and change this resolution 2576 to all the right section numbers and everything. It's all to the next meeting, we get the paperwork right.
Well, they're actually moving to execute the closing, I think, on June 30th, a week from today. So that's, they informed me of it last week.
Section 3 is wrong. Section, matter of fact, here we got section 2. Section 7 is wrong on this section 3 here. We got two section 3s.
Well, if we can provide the motion, like it's the accurate section and the accurate resolution. Absolutely.
And that would be ideal, I think, to keep me from scrambling, and all of us scrambling to try to fill in the exact numbers on the sections. So resolution 2576 would be to modify resolution 2416. And if we could have the motion reflect that change, and then also that the specific section numbers be changed to add those, that one clause, that one phrase about the errors and or mistakes.
Okay.
All right, I'll put that out there as a
I'll
motion.
make that a motion.
Okay,
Change the number.
got a motion in a second. Okay, any other questions? Again, I apologize, got the numbers wrong.
I think you're human.
Yes. Resolution 2576, instead of modifying Resolution 2389, it modifies Resolution 2416. And that we would like the phrase, or their heirs and or estates, to be added into the correct sections, or to reflect the correct section numbers from Resolution 2416. Did I say that right? I don't think I said that right. Right. Yeah, that phrase be inserted into the correct sections of, as reflected in Resolution 2416. We have a motion and a second. We can have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Griffith.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
No.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, item I. Last item on the agenda, request from Battery Mike. This is what we had moved up from the agenda session. This would be for use of the older pavilion at Camp Jordan, the one close to the amphitheater, for August 7th, 2016, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, this is for Mike Battery, 3rd Battalion, 14th Marines. We will
Make a
be
motion to approve, sir.
waiving the fee for the use of that pavilion.
For a family day event.
It's for a family day
It's not
event.
for general population.
Right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Griffith.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for being with us. And again, provided there is not a called meeting or something like that, we do have an executive session that will take place now about prospective litigation. And again, if we don't see it before